You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, the Rafa House received an extraordinary donation thanks to the Arvis Foundation. KOAM's Amber Jenkins will have more.
Plus, 3 suspects have been caught after stealing almost $90,000 worth of equipment.
And it's another warm and windy day for us across the area. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner, just after 7 o'clock on this Tuesday morning.
That is correct, Chris. Good job.
She says I always steal the show, so I was just
run with it.
Because she's right, I talk too much.
He talks a lot, you guys. Yeah, commercial break, it's just blah, blah.
It's why I do what I do. I just tell
it's
stories and talk all the time.
It's great. It is great.
I'm sure it is.
It is. And the Arvis Foundation is assisting a Joplin Group's campaign to expand its services.
KOAM's Amber Jenkins spoke with Rafa International CEO about the donation.
We're just so grateful to the Arvis Foundation. It means the world to have local support for the work that we're doing for children right here in our community.
The Joplin chapter of Rafa International is $25,000 closer to its goal thanks to a donation from the Arvis Foundation.
Formerly a church, and it's going to be the perfect space to increase trauma counseling services here in our community, but also to move our U.S. headquarters there as well.
Rafa is just one of the multiple community organizations that Arvis grants money to every year.
One way or the other, and so anything we can do to help them along their journey is something we're going to do.
Internationally, historically, Rafa has been focused on residential aftercare for child survivors of trafficking and sexual abuse. A big part of that, obviously, is going to be trauma therapy, and that's something that we've been able to bring here to the United States.
Although Rafa is known for international work, building a headquarters in Joplin will also help make trauma counseling more accessible.
The quality trauma counseling services are really lacking in our region. We have a lot of kids that need these services in our community and throughout Southwest Missouri. And what we're hoping to do is to pilot a really healthy model that can be reproduced in other areas where there's lack of services.
The donation is funded by Arvis shareholders, not deposits.
We're not using our customers' money. It's a totally different pile of money, so no fears there.
Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Rafa House says renovations are planned to be finished by next spring.
Certainly an excellent program that they have, and it's great to see that they're going to be able to expand thanks to some of these donations.
Absolutely.
Well, something else that's going to expand, my waistline following dinner tonight, and our temperatures as they continue to... Why not? I'm getting fed. I can't help that the wife makes good meals and they are amazing and I'm gonna eat. I'm sorry, that's what we do. It's how we survive, and I can't help that for whatever reason, it all just goes right down here. Nowhere else. Look at this. There's nothing here. It's all just here. If anybody has any ideas on what I can do about that, let me know. I'm just kidding, I'm too lazy. But what I'm not too lazy to do is tell you the forecast. That's why I'm up here getting some exercise. We're looking outside from our camera, the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. Looking pretty good. A light haze out there from some light fog, but not too bad on the Missouri side. MoDOT camera 20th and range line looking good as well. Fog's starting to clear up a bit, but you can see we still have patchy, dense fog across parts of southeast Kansas and into northeastern Oklahoma. And our dense fog advisory is continuing Kansas through 10 a.m. and in Washington County, Oklahoma through 9 o'clock this morning. Quick look outside. Looking good, sunny, Joplin 60 degrees. Take a look at the fog, denser over the field here on the KDOT cameras south of Pittsburgh, but it is spilling out onto the highway, so watch out there for that fog. We're sitting at 58 in Pittsburgh, so just a little cooler. Fog is gone by about 10 o'clock, clear skies. South winds will start gusting around 25 miles an hour yet again, and they're going to get very breezy as we head into our Wednesday. We'll talk about that in your full forecast here in a moment. Highs today right around 80 degrees, if you can believe that. You better believe it, because that's what's going to happen. But fall will return later this week. Again, we'll look at all that in that full forecast in a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Investigators now say alcohol might have been involved in the deaths of 2 men who were struck by a train in Jasper County on Sunday. It happened on the railroad bridge near Highway 171 and Pennell Street in Carl Junction around 2:20 Sunday afternoon. Authorities have identified the victims as 24-year-old Dakota Bittner of Webb City and 39-year-old Terry Long of Orinoco. Thank you. Investigators say Bittner's truck had struck a concrete block near the base of the railroad bridge. A witness said the two men were on the bridge, and despite the sounding of the train horn, they were struck by the train. Authorities say evidence at the scene indicated that alcohol may have been a factor in the incident, but they did not elaborate. Authorities respond to reports of a woman falling off the Bluff Trail in Wildcat Glades in Joplin. It happened just after 12:30 yesterday afternoon. Responders believe the woman fell 30 to 40 feet near the area known as Mother Nature's Crack. Rescuers had to launch a boat and approach from the water to get her an ambulance. Authorities say the victim was injured but responsive. For updates on the story, download the KOAM News Now app. Authorities in Jasper County arrest 3 people and recover more than $90,000 worth of stolen property. Authorities say 48-year-old Kenneth Rippin, 36-year-old Christopher Gordon, and 62-year-old Terry Ward worked together to steal $92,000 worth of equipment, including a pickup truck, a flatbed trailer, 3 lawnmowers, and landscaping tools. Most of the equipment was recovered on September 11th. That was also when Pippin was arrested. Gordon and Ward were arrested last Thursday during a follow-up investigation. All 3 were being charged with felony stealing. And the Sam's Club in Joplin is making a donation to benefit children battling serious illnesses. The store donated nearly $61,000 to Freeman Hospital for the Children's Miracle Network. It's part of an annual fundraising campaign Sam's Club does for the network. Officials say it'll help area kids get the medical care they need.
Just so thankful for all the generous people in this community. So Sam's Club's really been a role model. They've raised nearly $61,000 this year, $61,000 for this cause. And we hope that they inspire others to do similar work as well.
The Joplin Sam's Club has been participating in the fundraising campaign for 35 years. It's raised a total of $460,000 for the Children's Miracle Network. Up next, Charlene will be in town with us in studio to show us how to make pumpkin biscuits. And later, we will hear how an innovative implant could allow those with Parkinson's disease the ability to walk. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. In Health Watch this morning, the practice of Tai Chi could help older adults boost their memory. Tai Chi is a slow and gentle type of martial art, almost like meditating. A study published in Annals of Internal Medicine included about 300 adults with an average age of 75 who reported their memory was declining. As part of the study, the participants took a 10-minute test on cognitive function. The average score of participants was 25, which meant that they showed mild impairment. The study found that participants who practiced a certain type of Tai Chi twice a week improved their score by 1.5 points after 6 months. The author of the study says it means more years of cognitive health before hitting a decline into dementia. And there are limits to the study, but the type of Tai Chi participants practiced is called Tai Chi Quan. Also, most of the participants were white and about 2/3 had college degrees. And strict abortion laws appear to have the result of putting more children in overburdened foster care system. That's according to a study published Monday in JAMA Pediatrics. In states with certain restrictive abortion laws, the number of children whose parents couldn't or wouldn't care for them has increased. Researchers found there was an 11% jump in children placed in foster care in states following the enactment of certain abortion restrictions called TRAP laws, compared to states without such abortion restrictions. TRAP stands for Targeted Restrictions on Abortion Providers. Anti-abortion politicians often argue TRAP laws protect mothers and children, but multiple studies and courts have found that the laws do not necessarily make them any safer. And the foster care system is already overwhelmed, particularly when it comes to children of color. Carbon monoxide poisoning is being blamed for the death of 3 people in Kansas City, Missouri Monday. One victim, a 14-year-old boy. Firefighters say they discovered the bodies after someone alerted them. Dennis Evans has the details.
KCFD has not released the name of the 3 people that died of carbon monoxide poisoning inside of this Kansas City, Missouri home.
It's devastating.
Responders answered the call this morning when one of the residents didn't show up for work.
The first crews on the scene made entry into the home and discovered 3 males that were deceased from potential carbon monoxide exposure. Their detectors were getting high levels of carbon monoxide, so they went ahead and backed out of the structure.
The cause of the carbon monoxide, a gas generator running inside of the home.
To my knowledge, there were no utilities to the structure. They had been shut off.
Leaving the occupants to rely on the generator for power.
When we start getting in this time of year, when the weather starts getting a little cooler, regardless of the size of the engine, whether if it's a combustible engine that's putting off exhaust, you should never operate it indoors.
In this case, the results were fatal. 3 lives lost, 1 a teenage boy.
Anytime there's a loss of life, but when a child's involved, you know, that makes it even harder. And then from a fire service standpoint, you know, a lot of the fatalities we see are preventable.
Police say the victims were all males ranging in age from 14 to 42 years old.
And we've got ourselves another warm and windy day across the area. Some patchy fog out there for some of us as well. We're having another look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. And coming up, Parkinson's has been known to severely limit body motion in its patients. We'll see one new piece of technology that may change that. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. We've got our good friend Charlene Patton all the way down from Topeka. Always great to have you from the Kansas Soybean Commission. Last month, a lot of good spooky recipes, but now we're transitioning into November, and we've got something pretty delicious out here this morning.
We have a theme of pumpkin going on here for a few weeks.
Okay.
And I love this recipe. These are pumpkin biscuits, and they're little mini biscuits, and they would be great for a brunch or to add to a meal. And they have this wonderful color with the pumpkin. I'm going to let you, this is a half a cup of pumpkin, or a cup of pumpkin, I believe. Okay. Maybe it's a half a cup. We'll double check there.
Let's double check here because we want to make sure you guys get this right. Let's see.
I think it's a half a cup of pumpkin there. And then we have our fourth of a cup of vanilla soy milk. Okay. And I'm going to let you take that whisk and mix that together. Okay. And then I have our flour in here, and I'm going to mix it with our baking powder here and a little bit of sugar for a little bit of sweetness there. Mix that up, and then I'm going to add our margarine. And our margarine is another of our soy products we're using in this recipe. And when you're using margarine in baking, check the label and you pick up margarine in the grocery store that has higher vegetable oil content. You'll see some that have like 48%, some that might have 89%. Okay. And pick the one that's higher when you're doing baking because you want that oil to be in your recipe. If I was at home here, I would probably do this just a little bit longer until we have a lot of crumbles. You can see already that we've got crumbles in there because we want to just mix that real good. If you don't have a pastry blender, you could use a fork and make that. But there we have our crumbles. Now we're going to add this. I'll add that to it. Okay. And this is our liquid, and we're going to just stir this in. And that orange in there is going to give us a wonderful color for these pumpkins biscuits. Now with this, we'll stir it, and you can see that it looks pretty dry there. But if you keep mixing, you're going to get a wonderful dough. So don't give up, just keep mixing, and then you'll also knead it a little bit. And I have this here because I wanted to show how nice it was. I didn't add any more flour to it. I just kept mixing, and you'll get a nice dough like this.
That looks fantastic. Yes. Just the way it is.
And then we'll roll that out with a rolling pin. And then to get the little mini biscuits that we're doing that would be great for a brunch, it's just about 1.5 inch cutter here. Okay. You can make them bigger if you'd like. That would be good too. Just put that down in there and then make, this is actually going to make 12 different biscuits. Okay. And then we'll put that on a baking sheet. There we go. Put that on a baking sheet and bake that at 400 degrees. And you check the time for me there.
Yeah,
Well, it was about 12 to 15 minutes.
15 to 20 minutes
15
on
to
these
20
biscuits.
minutes
so.
until they're lightly brown. And you'll
Okay.
have a dozen biscuits that'll be great for brunch for the holidays
And you
here.
can't go wrong with pumpkin flavored
Can't
things as
do
we head
that.
into the fall. Charlene,
That's
thank you
right.
so much.
Thank you.
And another incredible recipe. And of course, if folks at home want to get this recipe for themselves or any of the ones we're going to feature this month, what do they need to do?
They need to go to kansassoybeans.org, or they can always call our 800 number 877-KS-SOYBEAN, and we'll mail them all the recipes for November.
All right, Charlene, thank you so much. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this. Well, hope could be on the horizon for people whose mobility is impacted by Parkinson's disease. Researchers say a new spinal cord implant is showing promising results in helping a patient with the disorder walk again. Fox News' Ted Lindner takes a closer look.
For many people with limited or no mobility, independently doing everyday tasks can be a challenge. The problem was all too familiar for Mark Gauthier. The 63-year-old has suffered from the effects of Parkinson's disease for years. With the disorder that can cause uncontrollable shaking, stiffness, and difficulty balancing, impacting his ability to walk. But thanks to a new implant from Swiss researchers, Gauthier is up and moving.
It changed my life because now I can leave my home, run errands.
The implant, placed against his spinal cord, contains an electrode field that combines with an electrical impulse generator inserted under his abdomen to trigger his spinal cord into moving his leg muscles.
The technology is a neurostimulator that delivers precise pulses of electricity to the region of the spinal cord involved in the control of leg muscles. And the pulses are delivered at the correct location with the correct timing in order to reproduce the way the spinal cord is activated naturally in order to walk.
The National Institutes of Health reports roughly 500,000 people in the U.S. have Parkinson's, but global cases of the disorder have doubled in the past 25 years, according to the World Health Organization. And while there's no cure for Parkinson's, Gauthier's progress is giving researchers hope the device can help more people with Parkinson's and other disorders affecting mobility. Researchers are expected to test the implant on 6 new patients next year. Ted Lindner, Fox News.
Certainly incredible advances in medical technology across the area. Incredible advances out there. Well, coming up as flu season begins to get underway, we will see what steps the CDC is taking to help stop the spread here at home. Got that and more after the break.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. The time now is 7:27 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. A Joplin organization raises some cold hard cash for a good cause. The Joplin Polar Bear Plunge announced that it raised more than $10,000 to benefit Special Olympics Missouri. A total of 48 brave men and women from around the area donned disco-themed costumes and swimwear to take a chilly dip into the Shoal Creek to support the cause. The event marked the first Joplin Polar Plunge since 2017. You can head over to somo.org/plunge for more information. A new scholarship endowment for Diamond High School graduates is now raising funds with a $250,000 goal. A match promises to double donations to $500,000. When an endowment meets its fundraising goal, it will provide about $20,000 annually for scholarships to Diamond High graduates. The Paul Decuff Diamond High School Fund, named in memory of a beloved civics and history teacher, was recently established with the Neosho Area Community Foundation. Donations can be made at cfozarks.org/diamond. The Joplin City Council last night approved a proposal that could help bring a lot of new jobs to the city. The council granted a request from Acer Technologies for an abatement of property taxes on its East 26th Street facility as the business looks to expand. Acer bought the building from Zaf Energy Systems a few years ago. Now they want to add on to the building, a plan expected to create 350 jobs within 6 years. As they work on that expansion, they wanted a tax break from the city.
Expanding our manufacturing facility in the Crossroads Industrial Park. That expansion is really around getting ready for a lot of aerospace and defense work, but specifically for batteries for military vehicles such as submarines, aircraft, and ground vehicles like the Abrams tank.
The council last night also approved a contract with Olson Studio to complete work on the Ewart Splash Park project. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announces increased support for supervisors of domestic violence. Kansas is receiving $1.6 million in federal grants to help prevent family, domestic, and dating violence, to support victims, and to increase non-custodial parents' time with their children safely. Hope Unlimited in Allen County receives a total of more than $60,000, and Safe House Crisis Center in Crawford County will receive more than $90,000. KOAM's last flag swap of the year takes place later today. If you have a tattered American flag and want to exchange it for a new one, look for us across the street from the Walmart in Parsons, Kansas from noon until 1:30. Old flags will be properly retired by the Boy Scouts Troops of America on Veterans Day.
And we've got absolutely beautiful weather, well above average weather for that flag swap this afternoon. But this morning, still dealing with dense fog in southeast Kansas, parts of Oklahoma. Look at this, less than a mile visibility in Chanute. So reminder, use your fog beams or your low beams. Do not use your high beams if you're traveling into that fog. Dense fog advisories for Kansas until 10 a.m. and Washington County, Oklahoma until 9 a.m. On the Missouri side, clear skies out there from the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line in Joplin. We are again above average by a lot today. Sunny skies, south winds gusting upwards of 25 miles an hour, and highs right around 80 degrees. And of course, out west, some low, maybe even mid 80s will be possible. We'll have another full look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is expanding surveillance at 4 major U.S. airports. Evan Rodriguez explains how the program works and what else the CDC is doing to prevent the spread of illness this holiday season.
As the holidays approach, families gather, temperatures dip, and health concerns rise.
Being indoors in close proximity to each other, and that is usually what kicks off respiratory virus season.
Heading into the busy holiday travel season, the CDC is expanding its infectious disease surveillance program at 4 airports to now test for more than 30 pathogens, including flu and RSV.
The key to it all is that the traveler really provides us with early critical information that can help us find things before they spread in our communities and helps public health officials determine what prevention and intervention measures will be needed.
The program began in 2021 to track COVID variants, collecting nasal swabs from volunteer travelers and analyzing wastewater from certain flights.
We hope to do the same and have the same success with early detection and filling in the gaps with other respiratory viruses.
For travelers hitting the road this holiday season, Dr. Sydney Friedman with the CDC recommends taking a few steps to help keep you and your family healthy.
Basic things like hand washing are really always good measures, not touching your face, carrying alcohol-based hand sanitizer if you're not going to be able to wash your hands.
According to data from the CDC, the rate of COVID-19 hospitalizations remains steady, while flu season is ticking up slightly throughout the country. I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Some ways to stay safe during the flu season are to wash your hands often, use hand sanitizer, avoid touching your face, disinfect your home, and if you are feeling sick, stay home. That's a look at today's top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News. It has been 1 year since the Cornell complex was built. We will hear from Elise Noe on how members celebrated their first anniversary. Stay tuned.
And it's going to be another warm and breezy day across the area. It sounds like a broken record, but that record is going to change here in a moment. We'll talk about that in your full forecast a little later. We'll be right back. A retired firefighter jumped into action to help rescue a motorcyclist who was thrown into the water after an accident on a bridge. It happened in Seminole County, Florida last week, and the rescue was also caught on camera. Haley Crumbleholm spoke to the hero behind the dramatic rescue.
Those split seconds can mean the world. I mean, it means a life.
Retired Seminole County firefighter Terry Myers was in the right place at the right time.
It was perfect timing. We beat the fire department's boat there by 5 minutes, just because I was here.
He was home when he says he got a call from a lieutenant asking if he could get his boat in the water on Lake Jessup to help rescue a motorcyclist thrown off a bridge and into the water. Chopper 2 flew above.
Me and my wife come running down, jumped in the boat, cranked it up, ran over and got them. And the minute we got there, we just pulled the boat up on the shore. The crew from Engine 35 jumped on, and we took them up the lake.
When they got there, firefighters were doing what they could to help the motorcyclist from the bridge above.
Luckily, the guys on the bridge had already thrown him, a flotation device and a rope. Doesn't always happen that way. It doesn't always happen that he was so lucky that he didn't get knocked out going over the bridge. Or he was able to hold onto the pole until they threw him something. But minutes count big time. It's a life. In a lot of cases it is.
Certainly an incredible rescue there. The fire department says the motorcyclist was conscious and alert after the accident and complained of a foot injury. Could have been a lot worse. Well, coming up, more Americans are working more than one job. We'll have more on that. And, hey, take a look. 60 Joplin, 58 Pittsburgh, on our way to another well above average day across the area, and some fog out there for some of us. We'll have another look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:40 now on this Tuesday morning. Dense fog still in parts of southeast Kansas into Oklahoma. Less than a mile visibility in Chanute right now. So if you are traveling out west, do be aware of that. Make sure you are prepared for that dense fog out there. Dense fog advisories, Kansas through 10 a.m., Washington County, Oklahoma through 9 a.m. Quick look outside. Our camera on the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. Got a great sunrise, clear skies out there, and of course, clear blue skies from the MoDOT camera at 20th and range line, and still seeing some of that fog, but not nearly as dense out there over in Crawford County, just south of Pittsburgh on US 69 from the KDOT camera there, so do watch out. Otherwise, again, clear skies, 60 in Joplin, south-southeast breeze at about 5. Temperatures around the area, 57 Neodesha Sedan, 60s Yates Center, Chanute, Iola, Independence, and Chatopa, 58 in Fort Scott and Pittsburgh, 61 Lamar and Carthage this morning. All right, going through the morning, we have that patchy fog through about 10 o'clock, partly cloudy skies with that. Then we clear out and go in the low 70s by late morning. Winds will start gusting out of the south again at about 25 miles an hour. Sunny skies, temperatures right around 80, and very likely some low 80s out there as well. So very warm, about 20 degrees above normal. We go into this evening, clear skies, temperatures kind of just hovering around the mid 60s, and winds increase to about 30 miles an hour out of the south. Then tomorrow, they'll increase from 35, maybe even upwards of 40 miles an hour. And by early afternoon, they're going to transition and start blowing out of the west. So if you're driving high-profile vehicles, be aware of that. Then Thursday, cold front comes through. Unfortunately, not a lot of rain with this. We need more rain. This isn't really going to do it. But that cold front does put our temperatures back into fall-like mode. A little below average Thursday and Friday. Then beautiful into the weekend. Sunny skies. Temperatures into the mid-60s out there. And then as we take a look at the lows, of course, as our daytime highs fall back to average, that also means our overnight lows do as well. It's going to be pretty chilly in the morning as we fall back into the 40s. And we're going to stay right at maybe a pinch above average as we head into the next work week as well. Few clouds Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, mid-60s, and again, overnight lows in the 40s. So get ready for this change because it is on the way in the next couple of days. And of course, today and tomorrow, be ready for that win. That's a quick check of your forecast. Now here's Caitlin with Consumer Watch.
Thanks, Chris. Well, TikTok is saying bye-bye to its $2 billion value creator fund. The company announced the fund will shut down on December 16th. The fund's creation was intended to pay creators who made videos that reached a wide audience. In 2020, TikTok promised that over the course of 3 years, $1 billion would be distributed to those who qualified. But some content creators say the fund did nothing for them and paid them pennies for some of their videos. TikTok also has a creativity program, which it says can pay users up to 20 times more than the Creator Fund did. And more teachers may be turning to chatbots to assist in their teaching. A report by the Wall Street Journal says some teachers acknowledge the potential for cheating with the technology, but they also see the ability to use it as an effective teaching tool. The report says some students are receiving permission from their teachers to use chatbots for help on homework, but they are still not allowed to access it during tests. Other teachers remain unsure about allowing bot assistance on assignments because the provided information that could be unreliable. The report adds some teachers say they hope the technology will help students improve basic skills that would usually take up a lot of time. And the Food and Drug Administration says 2 more companies are recalling certain fruit pouches over lead concerns. The FDA says Schnucks Markets and Wees Markets are pulling certain cinnamon applesauce pouches from stores. This is in addition to the Wanna Banana Apple Cinnamon Fruit Puree products recall. Last month, the FDA warned families to not feed their children Wanna Banana Apple Cinnamon Fruit Puree pouches because they may also contain high levels of lead. The agency says it has received reports of 7 illnesses in at least 5 states that could be linked to lead-contaminated puree pouches. The agency adds that children who have eaten any of these fruit puree products should be tested for possible lead poisoning. A growing number of Americans are working multiple jobs. That's according to October jobs report from the Labor Department. In today's Consumer Watch, Patrick Cornell has what experts say is behind the federal data and who is leading that trend.
Juggling multiple gigs. The latest jobs report from the Labor Department shows nearly 8.4 million people had multiple jobs in October. That's the highest number since the start of the pandemic. And women appear to be leading that trend. The federal data shows nearly 6% of women worked multiple jobs in October. That's compared to 4.7% of men.
Our cost of living has almost tripled since 2020.
Experts say people may be taking on additional jobs to offset high inflation, which has been easing but is still painfully high for some households. Nonprofits like the United Way say inflation is outpacing wage growth, and that's making it harder for them to help families.
Wages do not reflect how important they are to everyday living.
Remote work is also offering more flexibility and opportunities for workers to manage several jobs from home. And there's also fear that layoffs could have people looking for supplemental jobs, but one economist says layoffs are actually historically low right now.
Companies are reluctant to lose their workers, and they're willing to negotiate even higher salaries to keep them.
U.S. employers added only 150,000 jobs last month. That's the smallest gain since June, signaling the economy is slowing and signaling that the Federal Reserve's action to tame inflation may be working.
The question is, how quickly is it working? We're still far from the 2% target, but inflation has come down quite a bit.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Patrick Cornell reporting.
We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. In November of last year, the Cornell Complex opened its doors in Joplin. Yesterday, they celebrated their first anniversary with a ribbon-cutting ceremony. KOAM's Elise Noe has the story.
This November marks 1 year since the official opening of the Harry M. Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. Now that a full year of performance and visual arts opportunities at the complex has passed, the public was invited to a ribbon-cutting ceremony at the complex with the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce.
So we just wanted to welcome everyone back again to celebrate this huge milestone and just to remind people that there's tons going on at the Cornell Complex all the time.
Connect to Culture, one of the primary resident organizations in the complex, has put on 39 performances and school shows since the complex has been open.
We've had over 2,500 students be able to take part in our performances via those school show opportunities for free. And it's just very inspiring because a lot of those kids have never been in a performance hall.
While the complex is celebrating the 1 year anniversary, it's also a time to celebrate all the work and planning it took to create a central space for performance and visual arts in Joplin.
I think that this vision was a long time coming. It was, way back in 2007 was the first discussions of there needing to be a destination for the arts in Joplin. And so just being able to see, that vision become reality has been an amazing experience.
And the complex has provided entertainment to more than 28,000 guests and has hosted more than 400 events.
We're looking forward to just continuing growing. Everyone's so proud of what we've put on so far, and just the possibilities are endless.
1 year down and many more to go. In Joplin, Elise Noe, KOAM News.
Going into this holiday season, Connect to Culture will be hosting a slew of holiday performances, including the Nutcracker with Midwest Regional Ballet.
And we've got ourselves another above average and windy day out there. Also have the fog to contend with, about a half-mile visibility in Chanute. So dense fog parts of Kansas and into parts of Oklahoma. Dense fog advisories continue as well until 10 for southeast Kansas and until 9 for Washington County in northeastern Oklahoma. Quick look outside one more time from our camera on top of the Cornell Complex in downtown Joplin. Looking great so far. Clear skies from the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line in Joplin as well. And the KDOT camera in Kansas on 69 just south of Pittsburgh. Fog not nearly as dense as it was this morning out there, but still want to be cautious. We are currently sitting at 60 in Joplin with a south-southeast breeze at about 5 miles an hour. Temperatures around the region off to a decent start, but again, well above where we should be. 60s, Yates Center, Iola, Chanute, Chautauqua, Independence, 58, Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, 63, Miami, 61, Lamar, and Carthage. We're going to have that fog through about 10 a.m., and then we're going to go sunny, low 70s by 11 on our way to another very warm day. Fall-like temperatures will settle back in. We'll take a look at your extended forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Authorities respond to reports of a woman falling off the Bluff Trail in Wildcat Glades in Joplin. It happened just after 12:30 yesterday afternoon. Responders believe the woman fell 30 to 40 feet near the area known as Mother Nature's Crack. Rescuers had to launch a boat and approach from the water to get her to an ambulance. Authorities say the victim was injured but responsive. Investigators now say alcohol might have been involved in the deaths of 2 men who were struck by a train in Jasper County on Sunday. It happened on the railroad bridge near Highway 171 and Pennell Street in Carl Junction around 2:20 Sunday afternoon. Authorities have identified the victims as 24-year-old Dakota Bittner of Webb City and 39-year-old Terry Long of Oronogo. Investigators say Bittner's truck had struck a concrete block near the base of the railroad bridge. A witness said the 2 men were on the bridge, and despite the sounding of the train horn, they were struck by the train. Authorities say evidence at the scene indicated that alcohol may have been a factor in the incident, but they did not elaborate. Authorities in Jasper County arrest 3 people and recover more than $90,000 worth of stolen property. Authorities say 48-year-old Kenneth Pippin, 36-year-old Christopher Gordon, and 62-year-old Terry Ward worked together to steal $92,000 worth of equipment, including a pickup truck, a flatbed trailer, 3 lawnmowers, and landscaping tools. Most of the equipment was recovered on September 11th. That's also when Pippin was arrested. Gordon and Ward were arrested last Thursday during a follow-up investigation. All 3 are being charged with felony stealing.
All right, about 20 degrees above average as we go right around 80, maybe some low to mid 80s. Clear skies, winds gusting out of the south around 25 miles an hour. Those gusts increase to 30 overnight, and we stay clear to mostly clear and fall back into the mid 60s. Another warm day tomorrow, near 80 again. Winds shift out of the west by the afternoon and are gusting 35, maybe 40 miles an hour on Wednesday. Cold front comes in, kicks our temperatures down on Thursday into the upper 50s. It's a little below average. Then we start to level out a bit and go back to average heading into the weekend. Sunny skies, but of course average highs means average lows. So be prepared for some chilly mornings back into the 40s.
All right, listen to this, Chris. Kraft Heinz Company is introducing a new flavored condiment, and it's kind of a huge deal.
All right, well, the company is trying out a new creation, pickle-flavored ketchup. I know some people who might like this. This new experiment comes after a recent report found that 73% of Americans say they enjoy the taste of pickles, and the company is taking that data and running with it.
Heinz says fans' desire for new and tasty combinations have led to some of its recent flavors. Heinz pickle ketchup is already available at select locations in the UK. and will begin popping up on shelves in the U.S. next year.
All right, so something to keep an eye out for.
It seems unnecessary. If you want to have pickles on your burger, put them on your burger. You still have the ketchup, you have the pickles. Why do you have to combine them?
It's less stuff to pile on your burger or hot dog.
Yeah, the texture's going to be off.
Well, thank you so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We're back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great rest of your day.